One, two, mic check. Are we on? Are we live?
One, two, mic check. Are we on? Are we live?
Kochanja. So what are the benefits of having solar? The first one is on the financial advantage. It is important for you to understand that indeed, when you have solar, definitely your finances are sorted out. The first advantage, of course, like we have been talking about, is on the financial, or basically the savings that you make with solar. So it means that you will save a lot. Save, save, save. So when you have solar power, it means that you don't pay monthly electricity bills. And this is very, very important because the money that you could be paying for electricity consumption or for your monthly electricity bills could be channeled to something else, such as growing your business, or if you have a family or it is a family setup, you definitely concentrate your finances on something else. And that definitely means a lot for anyone who understands about the money game. Now, when we have agriculture, or if we have an agri business, or generally in business, it means that security is guaranteed. So that is yet another benefit of having solar power, because your CCTV systems will be operating. It means that you will be able to have security, a sense of security when it comes to your home or your business, because once security is guaranteed, it means that you will be saving on a lot. You know, when you have security fence, when you have a CCTV camera system, it means that you are able to monitor your property. You are able to guarantee that you will not experience issues such as theft in your property. And that is the benefit of definitely having solar power. Many people think that solar power is expensive, but in the long run, you will definitely be saving on a lot. Another important thing for people who own offices or office buildings is the savings that come with it, because the office has a lot of bills, isn't it? So let's say you have many people who are using the Wi-Fi, you have people who are using the light, especially right now that the weather is a bit cloudy. You find that people tend to leave the lights on even during the day. So the power bill or the light bill will be catered for by the solar power system that you definitely have. And I think that is a very power saving move or money saving move. And NB, when it comes to the professional installation, you need to be very keen when you consider someone who will be installing the system. Because if you make a mistake on this one, it means that you will lose. You will either lose the batteries, the inverter, or even the panels. A short circuit is an indication that someone who has installed that system is not qualified. So you need to ensure that you go for someone who is qualified. Now, authentic solar products, including the solar panels, is one thing that you cannot ignore, because you need quality products, you need genuine parts, you need inverters, you need batteries that will definitely last as the system is lasting, isn't it?
Last as the system is lasting, isn't it?
Now, we need to compare the benefits of solar power vis-a-vis the national electricity grid, or the electricity grid, for our case, Kenya Power. So we need to understand the fact that you have solar power. What are you able to save? And thank you so much, my top bosses, for joining in. And for the top bosses who are engaging in this chat, I really do appreciate. Also, liking the stream. And if you are joining right now, smash that like button, show your love if you are ready to get benefits out of our today's topic. Now, the grid will definitely ensure that you constantly pay for the monthly or the daily usage. Now, if the daily usage is 10 kilowatt hour, it means that the monthly will definitely, assuming that you are calculating on a 30-day basis, it means that you will end up consuming 10 units multiplied by 30, that is 300 kilowatt hours. So basically, that is what you will be consuming on a monthly basis, isn't it? Now, when we go to the cost of the grid power, you find that per unit, so these are the number of units that you consume in a month. Per unit, you find that it is 300 multiplied by 30. So per unit is 30 shillings, and then it means that you will be spending 9,000. In many cases, you find that a home will be spending close to this or even more, let's say 10,000 shillings a month. So you find that your annual costs get up to 108,000 Kenyan shillings. Now, in a period of, let's say, 5 years, you discover that that is a lot. It is better to own your own power system. But when it comes to the solar cost, you find that a 2 to 3 kilowatt power system will definitely range about 250 to 450. So if we give it at, let's say, the mid, whereby we are working with 350,000, you find that that system is able to save you on a lot of power bills. Going by this one, you will discover that with time you have saved on a lot if you decide to have your own power system. Now, the payback period for this system is definitely 350,000 divided by what you consume right here by paying power bills is around 3 years and approximately 2 months, isn't it? So giving us 3.2 years. So you find that in a period of 3 years or thereabout, you have already saved up for your system. The good thing is that for someone who was constantly paying Kenya Power this amount, or someone who is paying the national electricity bill worth of this amount, you find that they will still be paying this amount, and yet they don't own anything. But for you, you will be owning your solar power wholly. Another thing that people don't tend to see is that it is affected by inflation. Every time that you are paying electricity bill, you are also stepping in for the inflation, isn't it? So it means that this amount, you will not be paying constantly 108, but you find that you'll be paying more. So by the end of the 3 years, 2 months, you find that this person is still paying a excess of 108 per year. But the person who owns that solar power will have a total break and excluded from any inflation or the monthly bills. At this moment, we have the fuel inflation, or fuel prices are high. It definitely goes ahead to affect the cost of electricity. But a person who has solar power is definitely shielded from that inflation, and they continue to enjoy electricity supply, which is definitely free of charge. Now, when we go to number 4, which is very, very important point, you find that the payback period, number 5, lifetime saving, which is the real impact. You find that the solar panels last for between 20 to 30 years. And in many cases, you find that they last even longer than that period which is stipulated. So you find that they will even go up to 35 years. If those panels were genuine, they were good quality, they will definitely continue to serve you. The inverters range between 5 to 10 years, and the batteries, depending on which ones you have, whether it is gel batteries, lead acid, or even up to lithium or lithium iron phosphate batteries, you find that for the normal lead acid batteries, it's about 2.5 years or even 3 years. But if we are talking about lithium batteries or lithium iron phosphate batteries, they definitely last for more than 10 years. So we are talking about decades, 10 years, 15 years, and so on and so forth. So you find that in the long run you save on a lot. Top boss, if you're finding value, smash that like button, and if you'll be watching this video as a recorded version, also hit that like button. Let me know in the comment section what you think about the savings that come about when you have solar power. And also another important question that I have for you that I also asked our top bosses on our Facebook channel is, if let's say you have a 6 kilowatt inverter and you have a 10 kilowatt hour battery, what number of panels and what are the specs that you need for your solar panel? So that is the wattage as well as the quantity of the solar panels that you need. So top boss, on the comment section, let me know. You have 6 kilowatt inverter, isn't it? So this is the inverter. This is the battery, which is a 10 kilowatt hour. So probably you find that it is actually a 50 volt and let's say a 200 amp hour battery. All right. So my question is, with these specs of the inverter as well as the battery, what are we getting in terms of the number of solar panels that will be able to power this system? And for this system, we are assuming that it is actually a normal domestic home or a family home. So with that, what is the size of the solar panels that we need and what is the number of panels? Let me know in the comment section, top bosses. Nakata. Then. So top bosses, in the comment section, let me know what do you think about the number of panels that you need for a 6 kilowatt inverter, 10 kilowatt hour battery. All right. So more details on the battery. It is a 50 volts 200 amp hour battery. All right, and the application is in a domestic setup whereby we have that let's say we have the normal things that we use, like let's say a fridge, we have lighting, and we definitely have other home appliances such as a washing machine. We have, let's say, sound system, a TV, and so on and so forth, isn't it? Now, moving on, my top bosses, extra real life factors. All right. So, extra real life factors, if let's say there is an increase in the cost of electricity, like I was talking about, you find that if, for instance, it shifts from 40, I mean, from 30 shillings per unit all the way to 40 shillings, you find that per month the cost has already shifted as well. So from someone who was paying or who was spending 9,000, all of a sudden they are spending 12,000. And I gave an example of inflation, oil inflation, fuel inflation, sorry, and then definitely you find that you are spending on a lot. So for someone who has actually invested in solar, you find that they are able to save on a lot. So assuming that within the same period, the same another person had already gone solar, you find that their return is very, very much worth it. At number 7, quick field formula, you find that monthly bills, for instance, this is 12 times 3. So the solar system equivalent is already making a lot of sense. So you find that if someone had already gone solar within the 3 years, they have already made that a return. And that is why at number 8, you find that the return on investment, let's say, which is 108, if you divide by the cost of now the solar vis-a-vis the amount of bills that you could be paying per year, you find that the ROI is 31%. So it is not a wastage, it is not a loss. When you invest in solar, you definitely get a 31% return on investment. For people who are in business, they even enjoy much more, because assuming that you also are supplying power to your agribusiness or your business, it definitely translates to you saving on a lot of money, isn't it? So you find that if, for instance, this system is also used to power your water pumping system, all right, so that you are able to achieve irrigation and you are able to feed your animals. If let's say it is in a farm, then it means that the harvest that you get that has been enabled by your solar power will definitely translate to a lot of savings, meaning that this ROI or return on investment is not only on your power bills or the savings that you make out of not paying electricity bills, but the power can be channeled to what we discussed here: irrigation, all right, feeding your animals, and that will definitely mean that you benefit a lot, you gain a lot on your power. Am I audible, top bosses? Am I audible? So if you have any question, let me know on the comment section, and I will definitely be glad to share more insights. Kwani? Angalia hapa juu. Wifi iko bado. Yeah. So top bosses, have you ever installed solar power either in your property or in your home? And if you are a technician, have you ever done a full system installation? So what are the steps for you to own your solar power? What do you need to consider? Let us discuss about that. So if you are a homeowner, so this one is for homeowners. What are some of the factors that you need to consider when it comes to owning solar power? First of all, we need an audit on your wiring. Audit your wiring. The reason why this is important is because if your wiring is working perfectly, it means that it will have less errors, and this will definitely mean that your solar power will not strain as it supplies power to your home. Also, it reduces the wear and tear of your solar panels, your inverter, as well as your battery. If the wiring is perfectly done, if it is working properly, it means that the solar power that you have will have an easier time powering your appliances, powering your needs, daily needs, because the efficiency is definitely high. So the wiring has to be working perfectly. And if you're in diaspora looking forward to invest in Kenya and you have not made the right decision when it comes, you have not yet made the decision on where to have your land, factors such as the availability of power should not limit you, especially if you are looking to buy land in your place that is your preference. Do not be afraid of buying that land if power is the only thing that is limiting you, because you are able to go solar and power all your needs with your own power station or generation, which is solar. For homeowners, also another thing that you need to consider is the load. So the load encompasses your home appliances. So you need to understand your home appliances in terms of the power rate or the, so this is the power rate, or in terms of watts, be it a microwave, how many times, be it a microwave, how many times are they in use. So you need to factor in that. Another thing is definitely, so let's say you have factored in the appliances and the rate of the appliances and the number of time that they are in use. That will definitely help us to calculate the number of panels to be used. And first, before panels, we also need to factor in, very important, is the inverter size. Inverter size. So that will definitely help us to know the number of panels as well as the number of hours that the systems or the appliances are in operation matters a lot, isn't it? So we need to be very, very much considerate of that. So we also need to talk about another important thing which matters a lot, and definitely it is the size or the power rate that or the type of appliances. So you find that appliances that have or produce motion, produce heat, we need to consider them. Motion, these are definitely motors. So the question is, are these motors three-phase or are they single phase? Another thing, definitely if they produce heat, we are referring to heaters. You find that for you to size a system, you need to consider, like let's say a hotel. If in a hotel, there is cooking that is going on or heating. So basically in the kitchen. Another thing is definitely a swimming pool. Is the swimming pool heated? And of course, there are pumps that are involved in there. It means that we need to also factor in motion producing appliances or loads. So that is where uh, pumps come in. All right. And even you find that in those setups, we also need cookers. So especially as we were talking about the kitchen or a restaurant or a hotel where we have cookers right there. We have the kitchen, a lot of these are mega loads. So why am I talking about that? Because that definitely dictates the size, the type of the type of your inverter. Not every inverter, regardless of the size, should be considered when we talk about these sizing, because if an inverter is either a low frequency or a high frequency, so from your experience as a technician, for heaters, for motion producing loads, is it necessary to use a low frequency inverter or a high frequency inverter? Which is the most suitable inverter to use for loads that produce heat as well as produce motion? Top boss in the comment section, let me know. Which is the most suitable inverter for that? Right. Is it a low frequency inverter or is it a high frequency inverter? Let me know in the comment section. All right. Now we also have to factor in people who are in the industry. So if you're in the industry or basically business, so let us just write business here. So you find that if you have a large scale industry, the first question is the time. Number two, peak loads or peak load time. Why is that important? So that we can know when is the appropriate time in a day when the load is actually fully used. All right, so that we can know if, for instance, it is during the day, we definitely need to consider more solar panels so that the sun that is harnessed will go directly to support this load, so that during the day, if that is when there is a peak load connection, we need to have more solar panels. And we also need to consider the inverter type as well as the inverter size, right? The type of the inverter as well as the size of the inverter. So if for this case we have a very big load, the solar panels through the inverter are able to directly power the loads. And definitely if we are talking about the load which definitely draws a lot of current, it means that this inverter has to support that load, and especially during the day. Now, if it is during the night, we now shift our attention to the battery, because at night we don't have the solar or the sun. Let me just, so that is what we definitely refer to as so let's say it is at night or cloud, there is cloud cover. or days of autonomy, where we go with, like, let's say 2 days in a week where we don't expect to have much cloud cover, I mean much sun. So for this, the sun is not the sunshine is not sufficient on the solar panels, because the sun is always there. It is affected, the sunshine is the one that is affected by the clouds. So it means that if at night we still need to run the machines, the motors, for the industries, for production purposes, we definitely must shift our attention to the battery. What is the size of the battery? All right. Is the battery able to store enough power when the solar panels are charging it? That is one thing that we need to really focus on. Okay. Another thing, the cloud cover, so that during the day, if the cloud cover is too much, it means that it will affect the battery charging potential, not potential. It will affect the charge on the battery. If, let's say, by evening we have 30% remaining on the battery capacity, it means that it will affect the performance, especially if that battery is used or relied upon during the night production time. So we cannot fully rely on the battery to produce power, right? So what we need to do is to ensure that the solar panels, or the size of the panels, is increased, as well as the size and the number of panels. So that means the quantity and the quality of power has to be stepped up, so that with the little amount of sunlight that is available, the battery, number one, has to be filled to capacity, so that by evening the battery is at 100%. And then the other question will be, will this 100% or the capacity of the battery be able to sustain the night shift operation all the way until morning before sunrise? And so for this case here, I'm definitely, as you may know, considering what we refer to as an off-grid setup for the industries, or for heavy commercial, off-grid for heavy commercial. And so you find that the initial cost for this solar installation is way expensive, but in the long run, it will save on a lot. Now, we know about tariffs when it comes to commercial setup. People who are in commercial setting, their tariff is very, very high compared to domestic setup. So you find that if you are paying for electricity, the cost of a unit in commercial setup is not the same as domestic. So there is a need for you to go solar, because it will save on a lot if you are an industry player. I'm pointing in 20. So ni wind up iko sawa. So si naweza malizia hapo. Kuna vitu mob umeget kukatakata. So my top boss, just to recap what we've been talking about today, is that homeowners are able to save on a lot of power bills, just like we were discussing. And the first step for a homeowner before considering solar power is to definitely audit their wiring. If there are any loopholes or issues with the wiring, fix that, so that your solar power will definitely not disappoint you. Now, when it comes to setting up the solar power, the one consideration that we do ask is the load. What is the size of the load that is connected right there? So we need to ensure that we know the appliances that will be connected, number one. Number two, we need to know what are the power consumption or the power rates or the wattage in short. If it is a refrigerator, if it is an iron box, is it 1 kilowatt? Is it 1.2 kilowatt? All of that we need to work out the total consumption of these appliances. Number two, hours in operation of those appliances so that we can estimate the load consumption or the amount of power consumption in that home. We can also understand what the customer pays in terms of electricity tokens. That will help us to calculate backwards to know from the amount that they are paying in terms of token consumption per month, and then work out the correct system that will be able to support that home or that house. And it is important for you to understand this. Also, if you are prospecting that in future you will be able to upgrade your system or you will have more power needs, you need to communicate that with the electrician or the technician that is calculating the solar power that you need. At Top Heights Electricals and Electricians, we help our clients, whether you are in diaspora in a different country, we help you come up with the correct size so that you don't make any mistake. And we even give you a quotation and we go into detail so that your technician, regardless of where you are, will be able to implement. We will also be in contact with your technician to ensure that this system is implemented. Of course, at a fee that we charge if we are not the ones that are executing the project for you. But if we are the ones that are executing the project, we will help you all the way until we arrive at a system that will help you. Now, an inverter type and an inverter size is very important so that you are able to understand which is the suitable inverter to support the needs that you have. It doesn't matter whether you have heaters, cookers, motion producing appliances such as motors. Even if you have a swimming pool which is heated, solar power is able to supply that. Shifting gears to people who are in the heavy commercial or the industry, if you have a business that definitely runs 24/7, can solar power support that system? The answer is yes. So what we also consider is the time, right? Now, here we consider the load that you have. The time is definitely tied to the operation. Do you have heavy operation during the day or is it during the night or both? Now, we will consider the number of panels, especially when it comes to during the day. If your operations are limited to daytime, we definitely have to step up the solar panels that you require so that we maximize on the sunshine that is harnessed by the solar panel so that it is able to supply power to all the loads. Another important thing is the inverter type as well as the inverter size. We normally talk about high frequency, low frequency inverters, especially for industry players who produce a lot of heavy motion or movement in the production chain. So that is very important. And for us here at Top Heights and Electricals and Solar, we assist our clients even in the commercial setup or in the industry or manufacturing setup to come up with the correct solar power system that will be able to help them achieve maximum profits even when it is at peak, that is peak load. We definitely come up with a system that will help you. So we factor in the battery size. Even if it is at night, the battery is able to assist you continue with the production. So let's say during the day you are relying on solar. The solar panels are able to power your manufacturing or production needs and at the same time charge your battery to 100%. So when it is in the evening or at night, the battery starts at 100%, is able to power the needs during the night, and even in the morning, the battery is not emptied completely. Maybe it is at 30% or even 50%, and during the morning or the sunrise, Now the sun is able to peak again. We also calculate what we refer to as days of autonomy. We give you an allowance, assuming that we give an allowance of 2 days of total cloud cover. Will that system continue to power your needs on an off-grid setting? If the answer is yes, it means that you will save on 100% when it comes to power bills. So we don't want you to pay for any bills if you decide to go off-grid solar. Another important thing for you to note, my top boss, is that at Top Heights Electricals and Electricians, we have partners in the commercial, we have partners in the banking industry. So we have partnered with the banks. We have also partnered with other financial institutions such as SACCOs to ensure that we lend. And we also have another agreement with banks that are able to lease this system for you, especially if you are in the commercial or production setting, so that they lease the solar power so that you are able to gauge, is this worth it? If you're not able to continue or you want to upgrade the system, the banks will repossess the system and allow you to upgrade. All right. And even after paying, you decide that you want to fully own the system, there is a fee that you pay and you own the full set of this solar power so that you are able to continue using it. All right. So at this point, I want to thank you, my top bosses. Unless you have any question, I am able to assist you and to give you any answers. Lee, do you have anything that you need to add? All right. So thank you so much, my top bosses, for tuning in. If you will be watching this on a recorded version, I will definitely appreciate you giving it a thumbs up. And if you have any question that you need to ask, let me know in the comment section. And also remember the question that I already asked, which is right here. If, for instance, you have a 6 kilowatt inverter and you have a 10 kilowatt hour battery, what are the number of panels that you require? What is the specs of those panels, my top boss? And this, we are discussing about a setting, a domestic setting or a family setting where we have the normal home appliances. Let me also know in the comment section and I will appreciate that. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have not subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and do so and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the episodes that are coming up. My name is John Gatehi and this is Top Heights Electricals and Solar. Goodbye for now.